Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shimigami X, aka your Captain X, here today. You know what? To do several reviews of Avatar: The Legend of Korra. I'm going to do a review of episode 11, 12, 13, and 14. Because as we know, I was meant to do my review last week, but basically, all four of those episodes came out in 1 week, which is rare in any case. But nonetheless, they came out all in 1 week, so I quite evidently just did not have the time to be able to review them all at once. So here I am, here to review them all. Okay, so since the episodes have already been watched by this time, since it's been about a week since they passed, and it's also the season finale, there's no point in me giving you a rundown of what's happened within these episodes. So instead, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you my thoughts, predictions, and so on and so forth about the episodes and what my opinion about it in general. So sit back, relax, watch, and let's get into this. Alright guys, now there were several things I liked about, basically, let's call it the season finale of Avatar: Legend of Korra Season 2. Okay, firstly, I'm going to say that this season is extremely short, and one of the things that I don't like that's been going on with Avatar: The Legend of Korra is basically that how the seasons are literally half of what they were for Avatar: The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. They're literally half the episode, so I don't like that. So that gives half the time to tell a decent story. The second thing I don't like is this, and this isn't a rant video, guys, it's just me being honest, because you know how I do. When I review things properly. I tell you the good things and the bad things. If I have something bad to say, I tell you the bad, because I like to end things on a positive note. So that's just what it is. Alright, now, I don't like how every single season or book that we get of Avatar: Legend of Korra, we have a new villain. Because what that then generally means that there's no particular main story plot to Avatar: The Legend of Korra. Yes, each individual book has its own theme and whatnot, which makes perfect sense and ties in with the story perfectly. But when you divide them up into different books, you get very short mini stories which don't provide many depth and don't give you very much character development. Because what then happens is that whereas the author or the writers try to get the story told, they don't leave much time for each of the individual characters, such as like Moko and basically Team Korra didn't get much character development, character development or any progression in terms of themselves. And the reasons for that are because, like I said before, it's just been evidently rushed. Okay, so now that's a bit of my rant out of the way. So let's talk about what's good about this whole thing. What was interesting to see was the whole way harmonic convergence comes to be about. And what I should have called this about a dark avatar. That is awesome. Now I'm just saying that from a fan standpoint. The dark avatar was awesome, and a lot of people are wondering, like, why is it that the dark avatar was only doing waterbending? So the reasons for that are simple, simply because if you remember, Avatar 1 went to the different lion turtles and gained the different elements from them. Unalaq didn't do that. Unalaq and Vaatu, the dark avatar, didn't do that. They didn't go to each individual lion turtle and do that. So all that Rava or Vaatu do when they enter your body is they just give you the power to be able to hold the 4 elements and greatly increase your spiritual powers, giving you immense power. That is what the avatar is. It's basically a typical bender that can use all 4 elements, but super powered and just more in touch with the spirit side, and has basically a super powered spirit, because it's basically the embodiment of the spirit of light or darkness in the case of Unalaq and Vaatu. Okay. One of the other things that I didn't like was the way that Korra had Rava ripped out of her, but then yet she's able to learn energy bending, which is something that we haven't seen in this series for a long time. And she was able to beat Vaatu, the dark spirit, along with Unalaq. See, and that's one thing that annoys me, and that quite there is, I call that main character syndrome, where the main protagonist should not win the battle, but yet they win the battle simply because they're the main protagonist and they can't die, essentially. And they can't lose. Well, they can lose, but they can't die, if you get what I'm saying. So that's one of the things that annoy me, so I'm calling that straight. That was main character syndrome. It happens in loads of different series, loads of different anime, cartoons, all things alike. Main character syndrome is a big thing, and I hate it with a passion. It happens with Goku, it happens with Naruto, it happens with Ichigo, and it's happening with Korra. It even happened with Avatar Aang, but with Avatar Aang to a lesser extent than Korra. Because, okay, we all know from the get-go, Korra has never been in touch with her spiritual side, right? In comparison to Avatar Aang, her spiritual knowledge and understanding is lacking, and we can obviously see that by the difference in knowledge between her and Jinora and Tozin. it's evident to see throughout this entire series. Okay, now if you compare Avatar Korra to Avatar Aang, what you see basically what Avatar Aang lacked was basically the physical side of learning the elements. So that's why he struggled with earth bending and, you know, fire bending. He took a long time to learn those. But then Avatar Korra, because she was like basically very good at the physical side of things, she learned the actual physicality of bending the elements very quickly. But when it came to the spiritual side of things, to learn energy bending and becoming, you know, in harmony with your spirit, in harmony with the universe, essentially, she lacks that. And if you guys remember, I'm going to put the image up sometime around about now, where basically she's walking along a path to basically the avatar state of herself, to basically realign herself and basically regain powers of the avatar state. If you remember back in Avatar The Legend of Aang, Aang had to go through the same thing, and I believe it was just before he got shot in his back to master the avatar state. Aang had to go through a lot of training to make that happen, but then Korra does it just basically at the drop of a hat by sitting inside the tree of time. See, and that's why I call main character syndrome. It's like, where did you pull that out from? You've never ever been good at, you know, basic energy bending or being in touch with your spiritual side, period. But then yet you're able to muster up the power to destroy the dark spirit Vaatu and rip Rava back out of him. Well, not destroy him, because you can't, because basically the avatars can never destroy each other, because Rava or Vaatu always live inside each other. Just that it will take another 10,000 years for them to appear again because of harmonic convergence. But nonetheless, I find it interesting that Korra is able to do that, and I'm quite calling it. That's complete rubbish right there. I didn't like that one bit. Okay. Now, moving on into other things that happened, is that I did like, you know, all the little comedic bits that happened in these the season finale. Like, you know, when Boomy literally took out the entire army by, you know, by fluke, more or less, with his flute, actually. Yeah, interesting, but, you know, roll with it. It was actually kind of funny, you know, it's cool. Like, that isn't to be taken serious and be read into it in an analytical point. It was just done for fan service. Like, it was just fun. Well, no, it's not fan service, because fan service is a totally different thing, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It was done for the fans. It was interesting, it was funny. So there was loads of things like that. I did also like Moko's battle with Unalaq, and then when Unalaq's children came and joined him to fight. I did like that. That battle was awesome when they were holding him out of the spirit world while Korra was doing her thing against Vaatu. I thought that was really awesome. That was really well done. And it was like, the bending on that, the animation was class. To be honest with you, throughout this entire season finale, I have to give it a thumbs up, because the animation itself was class. In terms of the storytelling and wrapping up the season finale, I do honestly think that it was done pretty quickly, but in the end, it was still class to see. It was awesome to see a dark avatar, but I would have loved to have had that avatar basically have other elements, but obviously that didn't happen for the reasons I've explained earlier. Also, people were wondering, like, oh, was the dark avatar stronger than the light avatar? Technically, yes, because if you remember, Unalaq only used water bending, while Korra was bending all 4 elements, and he was quite evidently kicking her ass for a long time. He even managed to rip Rava out of her and destroy Rava. Well, not destroy, but, you know, get rid of, and basically start the cycle over. So that just shows that Korra still has a long way to go in terms of her bending skills. So hopefully now, in the new seasons to come, we're going to get a main story plot. So like how the war in the Avatar The Legend of Aang went throughout from the very beginning right away to the end. That was the main theme. Okay, yes, every individual book had its own like little sub things that they had to get over, but the main theme of Avatar The Legend of Aang was about stopping the war. But in Korra, it's unclear, and that's my gripe with Korra. But nonetheless, Korra is still great. It's still a good series. It's still a good continuation from the Avatar The Legend of Aang. And what I did like as well, how the Avatar cycle has been restarted. So now, whereas what Korra used to do is, like, whenever she would get in trouble or whatnot, she would just go into her past lives and just automatically learn a new ability. Now that the cycle has started over again, she no longer has access to that. So now we might actually see some character development from her. And when I talk about character development, I don't mean in terms of her powers. I'm talking about her as a person. So maybe now she'll actually stop being so hard-headed, be more in touch with her spiritual side, and maybe actually listen to Tenzin and all of her superiors that are quite evidently more knowledgeable than she is in terms of the ways of the spirits and in terms of bending. Yes, she might have the physicalities of bending down to a T, but the natural arts of it, she can still see she has a long ways to go. And the perfect example of that was when she was fighting Unalaq. Unalaq outclassed her in terms of water bending. He outclassed her with just waterbending, and she used all 4 elements. That just shows she has a ways to go. Anyways, guys, it's your boy Shimigami X, aka Captain X. I hope you've enjoyed my general review of the season finale of Avatar: The Legend of Korra Book 2, Spirits. Anyways, guys, when the new season starts out, I'm gonna carry on doing my reviews as normal. Anyways, it's your boy Shimigami X, aka Captain X. I'm signing out, and as always, my people, take care and peace.